What is up? Welcome back to Mind Your Hormones. We're walking again on the walking pad. So if you hear it, you already know what's going on. I'm so excited to talk about this topic because I got this question in my DMs and she was like, Corinne, I've been hearing a lot about a 48-hour fast in your follicular phase. Like, do you think it's beneficial? Like, what are your thoughts on it? And I was like, okay, pause. I'm going to do a podcast episode on this. So just watch out for it. And I'm really going to just like break this down. I'm going to talk about the benefits of fasting because there are benefits of fasting, but I'm also going to talk about who it is not recommended for and what to do as an alternative to get similar benefits, right? Because of course, fasting has been, this is nothing new. Like people do fast all the time. So people do 2-day fast, a week fast. Like, there's benefits of it in certain situations. But there are also a lot of areas of life that I don't recommend this for. But I'm going to start with just like the benefits of like a 24 to 48 hour fast based on like science, right? So the first is that you get in deeper autophagy, which is just cultural, cellular cleanup. Like that's really just like your cells are able to clean and you're able to do that at a deeper level because you're not eating, right? So your body has a lot more energy. Digestion is a very energy intensive process. So when you're fasting, you're able to have a deeper cellular cleanup, which is obviously beneficial at some point, right? Because we're going to want that to, clean out damaged cells, regenerate new, healthier ones. Like that's really what autophagy is. And you get a deeper level of that during a 24 to 48 hour fast. And this could support your long-term health. It could reduce inflammation in a major way. And it can, in like long-term, benefit your fertility because it can improve your egg quality and your hormonal balance because it is like cleaning up your cells, right? So, but again, wait for the end of this. So don't just like end it there and be like, okay, I'm doing a 48-hour fast. Like there's a lot of notes that go with this. Okay. We're just starting with what the science says about fasting. Okay. So that's one of the, and this is just a couple things. Like there's a lot of other benefits, but we're just talking about like three main ones. Okay. The second is that it can improve your insulin sensitivity and blood sugar regulation, which if you know, this is something that we talk about all the time. And it's like, it's weird because something that negatively impacts your blood sugar is skipping meals and it's going too long in between meals. But when you're doing a 48-hour fast from no food, it can like give your body a break from glucose and allow insulin levels to drop significantly if this is something that you struggle with, if you have PCOS, if you're diabetic, if you have regular cycles, like all these things. So it has been shown that it can improve insulin sensitivity, which is what we want. We don't want insulin resistance, which is what a lot of people have, especially if you have PCOS, you definitely struggle with insulin resistance. And even if you don't have insulin resistance specifically, the majority of people, like I said, I've never worked with someone who was trying to conceive and who was struggling with their cycle and their fertility in some way, who did not have some form of blood sugar dysregulation. So the majority of us, probably you listening, do have it. So this can be a benefit of that as well. And the third major one is it really resets your digestive system because you're giving your digestion a break, right? Your GI system gets a complete break from food, from breaking down foods, having to assimilate it. Like the whole, like I said at the top, the whole digestive process is really energy intensive and your digestive system gets a full break from that. And that could support healing, especially if you're dealing with any gut issues like bloating, gas, sluggish digestion. And of course that will in long term support your fertility because your gut and your fertility are very tightly connected. So those are real, true benefits of fasting. However, if someone's to ask me, okay, if I'm trying to conceive, I'm trying to improve my fertility, like, do you think it's beneficial? Like, should I do a 48-hour fast in my follicular phase? I personally would say no. I don't recommend fasting for, obviously, if you're pregnant or if you're nursing. Like, obviously, if you're pregnant, that goes without saying, I hope. But if you're nursing, it's a hard no, right? Breastfeeding. If you are already like maybe underweight, you struggle with any type of disordered eating, this would clearly not be beneficial for you. If you're in your luteal phase, definitely a hard no, right? Because this can spike your cortisol levels and your resting cortisol level is already naturally high in your luteal phase. So this is going to just exacerbate that. And that's not something that we want to do. If you are chronically stressed and or not sleeping well, so if you're a parent and you're not sleeping well, or if you're just not sleeping well, maybe you're a shift worker, you have trouble sleeping, whatever it is, or you're chronically stressed, which the majority of people who are trying to conceive are chronically stressed, which is what I'll get to in my next point, okay? And then if you are struggling with adrenal fatigue, burnout, thyroid issues, I do not recommend it for any of the above, which is why I would not recommend this for anyone who is actively trying to conceive. Because if you're actively trying to conceive, your body, your nervous system needs to perceive that the situation, like that your life, your body is safe in order to get pregnant, right? Not eating for 2 days is a really good way to let your nervous system know that you aren't safe or that you don't have access to food, right? It doesn't know. You can't be like, nervous system, I have access to food. Like, we're safe. I'm just not eating for 2 days. Like, you can't communicate that to your nervous system. So if you're actively trying to conceive, number one, I don't recommend doing this because of that, right? And also, you are under chronic stress, whether you realize it or not. I recently did a podcast episode on this. It was so good. If you didn't listen to it, it was last Tuesday's episode, talking about like your body knows before you do. I'll link that below, but it was so good. It was really about like stress when you're trying to conceive and nervous system regulation and like somatic exercises you could do. It was so good. So we'll link that below. Go listen to that if you didn't listen to it already. But if you have been trying to conceive for a while, whether you realize it or not, like it is a very big stress on the body. And you likely have some chronic underlying stress going on because it is something that consumes the majority of your day. And I don't want you to add to that stress by doing a 48-hour cleanse. Okay, because that is a stress on the body, obviously, right? You're not eating for 2 days. That is a stress on the body, and you don't need that additional stress. And also, I want your body to feel safe in order to get pregnant. Now, if you are someone listening who maybe is planning on wanting to start trying in the next like 6 months or the next year, like no less than 6 months. If it's less than 6 months, I'll be like, maybe not. But like 6 months to a year, if you're like around that mark of like, I'm going to probably start trying then, I think I still wouldn't fully recommend a 2-day fast. Like that just seems really extreme for me. I would more personally want to do some type of a cleanse that is guided and that has some form of like a rhyme or reason to it and to like the healing, process. So before when was this? When was the last time I did this? It's been years now. I shouldn't even offer them anymore. I would do it after I was done breastfeeding. Because there are benefits to cleansing, right? Cleansing and fasting for 48 hours are two different things, right? So I used to do Kimberly Snyder. She has the company, My Saluna. She read the book. She's like what got me into nutrition. The Beauty Detox Solution. And that's like her first book. She has so many others, but I love her so much. She used to do juice/smoothie cleanses, and she shipped it to your house, and it was, I think it was 4 days. It was 3 or 4 days. And you had specific smoothies and juices to drink throughout the day. Obviously all organic. Like I think there were 2 or 3 smoothies and then the rest were juices. So you still were getting that fiber within there because when you juice something, there's no fiber, right? It's just like the fruit, the vegetable. Like that's why I don't recommend really having juice all the time because it's going to spike your blood sugar. But this is a fast. It was like a different type of situation. So I loved that because I was still consuming something and I wasn't just like starving all day. You know what I mean? Like I was doing this cleanse and I felt so good after. I felt so good during it. It was absolutely amazing. And I wish she still did them because I would love to do something like that again after breastfeeding because I'm obviously not going to do it while I'm breastfeeding, but it is a really good way to help like reset and clear your body out. I used to do that like 2 times a year because, like stuff just gets stuck up in there. We need to kind of reset our bodies sometimes. But I personally wouldn't want to do, and I wouldn't really recommend just a 48-hour fast, like with no rhyme or reason to like, any support with it. I think there needs to be some type of like, and this is why I don't have a specific company for this anymore. Like I said, I used to use Kimberly Snyder's. But I would do this when I was done breastfeeding because I'm not trying to conceive right now. I don't plan on it at any time soon. I'm not like I'm not having like 2 kids under 2. Like that's obviously that will pass at the time I'm recording this. Her birthday is tomorrow. She's gonna be 2 years old, which is so crazy. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. So like I would want to do that. And so I'm going to look up other companies that maybe do some type of cleansing or whatever like that. And obviously I'll keep you posted. That would be something I would more so recommend if you are not in the process of trying to conceive, or, you're taking a break from trying to conceive, maybe like to do more of a cleanse. But if you're asking if I recommend fasting for 48 hours, I really don't. Maybe for like if you have cancer or something like that, then I would for sure recommend it to get into that deeper autophagy. But I really just don't think that it's, and I feel like people who are interested in doing this are thinking like, this is a thing that's going to improve my fertility. Let me try this. I've tried everything else that hasn't worked. So let me do a 48-hour fast to boost my fertility for a strong and healthy pregnancy. And it's like, that's not going to do it. It's just not going to do it. It's not like it's not like a cure all. And again, if you already have that chronic underlying stress, you're not sleeping well, you're trying to conceive, like you have all this life stress that we do have going on, adding more of that on with a 48-hour fast is really just not something that I think is going to be supportive and support you in the way that you want it to. A better way, like I said, finding some type of a really high quality cleanse. I don't have a company recommendation right now. I will be looking into that at some point, so I'll keep you posted. Even doing like a stool test, understanding what's going on in your gut, and taking proper supplementation to detoxify your system, that would be way more supportive for you than a fast. I'm doing that again. Breastfeeding, after I'm done breastfeeding, I've done 3 already with Gut Personal. Changed my life every time. I'm obsessed with it. But there's certain things I can't take to heal, like some candida and stuff that I do have going on while breastfeeding. So I'm waiting till I'm done breastfeeding to do another one, figure out what's up in there and heal it. And I'm so excited about it. So like those are things that I would rather you do, and rather you put your time, energy, and capacity into, because that's going to give you way more bang for your buck and just be more supportive for you in your season of life of actively trying to conceive, right? And again, if you are someone who you're not actively trying to conceive, you're not going to for another like 6 to 12 months or something, and you're like, you want to try it and you don't have a history of thyroid issues, you're not chronically stressed, you don't have any disordered eating, you're not breastfeeding, nothing like that, and you want to try this out in your follicular phase, not in your luteal phase, I mean, of course, try it out. Like of course, you don't need my permission to do that, but like, some things are an experiment, right? It's like, okay, let's just try it out and let's see how it works. Pay attention. Does your cycle get better or does it get worse after, right? And even if it gets worse, it's not like, oh my God, it's screwed forever. Your body is designed to heal. That's why I love the Mind Your Hormones method, because it teaches you what you need to do to support your cycle no matter what. So even when it is off, okay, I know exactly what to do to get it back in check. Like, that's why having that knowledge is so impactful, because your cycle is going to get off sometimes. Maybe because you're trying a fast like this, or maybe because you're traveling, or maybe because you're, whatever, you're doing whatever, you're under a lot of stress and you're like, shit, what do I do now? It's like, no, you just get back on track. You follow the Mind Your Hormones method and you're good to go. Like I have, I almost fell off. I have so many clients that message me and they're like, I'm going back into the Mind Your Hormones method now that I'm postpartum, or a couple years after birth, a couple years after I actually did it. And I'm feeling so much better because I know exactly what to do now. Like, it's just like the gift that keeps on giving. The link for that's always in the show notes. You can use code podcast for 10% off. But the point of this is that if you want to experiment with it. See how it works in your body, and pay attention to how not only you feel during it, how you feel after, and how your cycle responds. Maybe your cycle will get better. Like, who knows? Maybe it won't. So it's just up to you how you want to proceed with this. But there are like so many other things to support your fertility on a cellular level that does not require fasting for 24 to 48 hours. I do recommend doing like a daily fast from dinner to breakfast for at least like 12 to 13 hours. That's like a great amount of fast. And if like you want to play around with this in your follicular phase, you can maybe do 14 hours from dinner to breakfast. But I still recommend eating within 60 to 90 minutes of waking up. In your follicular phase, you could push it to that 90 mark more. So if you want to do that 14-hour fast, it just means you're going to have to bump your dinner up earlier so you could get that 14 hours in while still eating within 60 to 90 minutes of waking up to support your nervous system and your blood sugar regulation. But that's more of the fasting that's going to be helpful for someone who is cyclical, you're a reproductive age, you want to support your hormones and your cycle and your fertility and all these things. That's more of the fasting I want you to focus on, of 12 to 13 hours from dinner to breakfast. Maybe in your follicular phase, you can go 14 hours and try that out and see how you feel. And that could be really helpful, especially if you do have PCOS or you're struggling with insulin resistance. Like, that is what I would recommend for fasting. But 24 to 48 hours, personally, I'm just, especially because I know you who's listening, I know the stage of life you're in, and I do not believe that this is something that's going to deeply benefit you. And I think you should put your focus on other things that are going to be way more supportive for your fertility. than this, because this feels like, for me, like a fertility tea, a fertility lube, a Vitex, a progesterone cream. It's like, what's this other quote unquote hack I can do to improve my fertility? And it's like, no, we're not looking for hacks. We're looking for, how can I create a lifestyle that actually supports my hormones on a cellular level so that my fertility is boosted naturally as a natural byproduct from just living a hormone healthy life, and changing the things, tweaking my lifestyle to one that is actually supporting it, instead of like trying all this random hack. Like that's just, it's not sustainable. It's not, obviously not working. You've tried it all. It's not working. So like we need to do something else, right? So anyway, that's the Mind Your Hormones. The link for that is always in the show notes. But those are my thoughts on fasting. Let me know how what you think about this. Share this with somebody. It means the world to me when you leave a review, when you message me on Instagram, when you share it with your friends. Like, it is so helpful. We were doing like Amazon gift cards and stuff to people who were leaving reviews. Maybe we'll get back to that this summer. I've like totally forgot about doing it, like, continuing it each month. But the reason why we're doing it is because reviews on the show really help push the show out to other people who are looking for this type of content. So it's so helpful. And I actually just last night was scrolling through and I'm like, oh my God, like reading the reviews, I'm like, oh my God, it just like melts my heart. There was one on there though, I LOL'd. It was like, it said something about like, she curses like way too much, like won't be continuing listening. And I was like, see you later. Yeah, just take it or leave it. But anyway, thank you so much for just being here, for leaving the reviews, for sharing, for listening every week. Like, I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you. Let me know how this impacted you, and I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for being here. If you loved this episode and learned something valuable, please share it with a friend who you think would also love it, or post it on social media and tag me so I could personally say thank you for helping me spread this important message. I am beyond grateful to be here with you. So until next time, stay intentional, stay consistent, and always mind your hormones.